All right, welcome to Tour de Nortel Episode 2. This is going to just be a little talk about how to install, kind of go over the 12 steps that you need to install a CS1000. What we have here is Mike's PBX Cookbook, an indispensable resource for installing yourself a CS1000. Um, Now, if you want to get a CS1000, you just go to pbxbook.com, and this is just for installing it. And you go pbxbook.com and you go to Meridian, and you go to the Nortel Meridian Avaya CS1K. You'll go to installation, and there'll be this little thing that says CS1000 Release 7.5 Installation Upgrade. Go to the overview, and we'll just go here. So what you've got to have, there's going to be a preparation. So you're going to need a chassis, first of all. Um, Mine is an option 11, which is a Meridian 1, which is a previous type of PBX that is converted to a CS1000 via adding a MGC and CPPM and replacing the SSC card and adding a signaling server. So basically, what you need at a minimum is either an option 11C chassis, that big fucking thing right there, a power supply. Everything is line swappable, so it comes with nothing in it. And the chassis that you need to have is one that will take will take everything in it. Anyway, continuing, you need a power supply, so AC or DC, depending on what your plant is. You're going to probably be AC, so you're going to want to look for the AC-DC power supply. It's a big heavy fucker, but it slots right in, so just you'll need an MGC card. That is your media gateway card. So let's make a list here. So you need an option 11 chassis, or an MG 1000 chassis, or an MG 1010 chassis. 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 Then you're going to need an MGC card. All the part numbers and stuff like that are available on pbxbook.com, Mike's PBX Cookbook right here. I will also list the parts in the description. Then you're going to need a CPPM card. Let me put this over here. There we go. You're going to need a CPPM card, or if you can get your hands on one and you don't mind spending the fucking money, um, if you want to not have to F with a um, signaling server, I believe you can get a CPDC card. CPDC card. These are about $500 to $1,000 because they are still in use to this day. A lot of this crap is still in use to this day, which is why it's a little bit more pricey. Because, yes, there are still places that use CS1000. I mean, it's becoming less and less of a thing because of IP phones and stuff like that. But I mean, at the same time, if your building is wired for, IP phone, and you can still do IP phones with the Nortel, so there's no reason to upgrade. So, you know, it is what it is. So, depending on what you're going to want to connect to the Nortel next is going to determine what other line cards you're going to need. If you want a system like mine, so for a last station for um, you know, specialty, you're going to need if you're in the US, you're going to need a TMDI card. This is for T1. You're going to need the TMDI dongle or a 25 pair block for termination. Next, if you're going to go with what I'm going to do, we're going to get to the Cisco Cube later, but we're going to do Nortel stuff first. You need that's the TMDI card. Depending on what type of phone set you want to use, for analog, you're going to need an analog line card. For digital sets, you're going to need a digital line card. And for IP sets, you will not need a line card for that. That is taken care of in the CS1000. No card needed. Okay, so we're going to go on down the line. If you're doing it like me, you're going to need two of these for redundancy. For each analog line card, for each line card, you need a 25 pair block for termination. You're going to need some, what are those things? The amphenol connectors, the big fat fucking things. They look like this. Ignore that. They look like this. So it's this connector right here, your telco connector. So you're going to need and then this is going to be, okay, so you need a female to male amphenol telco cable for each 25 pair block. Each 25 pair block you use, you're gonna need that. You're gonna need one of these special cables too. This is something I made so that I could get access to which card do I use this one? The CPPM, to install the software. Um, if you need to get to the, what's it called? Terminal to reset it. So basically it's a female amphenol 25 pair block cable attached to with some wires with these. This is what's inside this cable, is this bundle of wires. And then I attach certain wires to this DB9 connector, that DB9 breakout connector that allows me to make the serial cable. So that's a serial cable. So PBX book has instructions on, oh, let me make this a little bigger. Woo! There we go. That's visible. Amphenol, the serial adapter, you can make one via PBX book. I will show you how to make one in this video. It's fairly simple. You just put wires in the ports and there you go. All of these Amphenol cables connect down at the bottom underneath the shelf into a number of these cables. You're going to need an octopus cable. I'll have a link for that in the description. So the octopus cable basically takes one DB9. It's plugged in right now to my MGC, so I can't actually show you, and then breaks it out into three DB25s. It's a special cable and it's a special pinout, so unfortunately, a your mileage may vary with a null modem cable. I tried using a null modem cable to access the console of my MGC, and it would not do a damn thing. It would print everything, it would show me everything, but the second you try to enter anything, nope, doesn't fucking work. So I had to order the octopus cable. Thankfully, it was like 20 bucks on eBay. Some people want $200 for these stupid cables, but you could probably make one yourself. Again, thank you, PBX Cookbook, Mike's PBX Cookbook, because the pinouts are on there if you want, if you're the type that just would say, fuck it, I'm gonna make my own cable. Um, I suck at soldering, so I don't even try. And, you know, I I just wanted the easy thing, and when I saw it was 20 bucks, I was like, I'll pay 20 bucks rather than um, bang my head on trying to figure out this stupid fucking cable. Anyway, we've talked about digital line cards. Um, we've talked about T1. The next thing that I have in my slot, these are optional, but if you want music on hold or recorded announcements, you'll need an MC, I think that's an MC8 card, MC8 slash Myran card. Then you're gonna need the Myran network adapter. I have two Myran cards. They each have 8 channels apiece, so that allows me for 8 different recorded announcements. So there are also MC32 cards that have 32 channels. No, no, is it 32? No, I think it's less. I can't remember. Um, information on PBX Cookbook. Um, so if you want recorded announcements, that's what you're going to need as a Myran card. I can't wait to do this video. This one's going to be fun. Call Pilot card. This goes into slot 9. This is a double wide server on a card. It is quite literally a Windows 2003 server on a card. Yes, you heard me right, Windows 2003. You're also going to need the Call Pilot network cable, which basically is a special Amphenol that breaks out Ethernet and COM. You could probably make this out of one of these yourself if you really fucking want to. The pinout is likely on PBX book. PBX book is so damn detailed. I can't. This is just basically an advertisement for PBX book cookbook. Mike's PBX cookbook. Everything you need for your Nortel CS1000, quite literally. So this is your parts list of what you need, bare minimum. Well, except for the optional stuff, bare minimum to get your phone system working. Now, then you're going to also need for termination equipment. You're going to need I need a punch tool, crimp tool, RJ11, RJ45, um, and some snips. Now we get to the Cisco stuff. For the cube, the CUBE, the cube, you're going to need a Cisco 2900 series SR, integrated services router. That's what they call it. It's basically a voice router. Um, I use a 2921. A 2901 is fine. A 2911 is fine. A 2951 is fine. 4331 is okay. I'm not sure about the 2800 series. You're going to need if you're going to go the way that I go with 2 TMDI cards, you're going to need either 2X T1 E1 EH wick. I think EH wick 3 for these. Or a 2-port T1 T1, E1, EH WIC 3. So either one will work. If you want to go full redundancy, I would suggest that you do one line card that has one, another line card that has another in slots 0 and 4. Just so that, if something fails hardware-wise, you're not up the creek with no paddle. Um, that's what you need for Cisco. Now, I've already forgotten what this video is all about, so I have to remember now. This is introducing the install overview and going through it. Um, this is the parts list that you're going to need, and this is the installation overview. So, um, in our next video, we're going to start the 12 steps of installation. We're not going to perform it on my system because I do not want to go through another install again. It's a real pain in the ass, but the steps will be described. So until then, see you later.